If you only had 24 hours to live, what would you do? Not because of an accident or illness, but because that is the entire human life cycle. It is difficult to imagine such a world. In every culture, every religion, every philosophy, human life is always seen as a long journey. From childhood to adulthood, from love to loss, from learning to creation. Time is what we define ourselves in. But what happens if we have no more time? In this hypothesis, each person only lives exactly 24 hours from the moment of birth. There is no childhood, no aging, no after. From opening the eyes to closing them all happen in one day. And what's more, this isn't an apocalyptic world, but a default system where society, biology, and cognition are all designed to accommodate that hyper-paced life. The 24-hour humans hypothesis isn't to answer a purely scientific question, but rather a philosophical test. If we reduce human life to its bare minimum, will we still retain what's most precious? Just like what if humans never discovered fire has done with evolution and technology, this hypothesis challenges us to think about the value of time, the ability to learn and love within limits, the nature of cultural and intellectual transmission when the lifespan is too short. For this hypothesis to be feasible, we need to accept some C5 premises. Super-accelerated biology, humans develop fully in the first 1 to 2 hours. The brain reaches its maximum cognitive performance in a short time. Genetic intelligence, memories, skills, and experiences are passed from previous generations not through education, but through biological codes like DNA combined with living data. Ease of death. There is no painful death or disease. When the clock hits 24, the body disappears, disintegrating as a natural mechanism, leaving a clean environment for the next generation. This hypothesis can also be seen as a metaphor for turning a day into a lifetime. 0 o'clock to 3 o'clock, birth, the stage of formation, receiving basic knowledge. 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, childhood, curiosity, exposure to the environment. 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock, adulthood, work, creativity, social connection. 12 o'clock to 18 o'clock, maturity, love, create value, influence the community. 18 o'clock to 21 o'clock, growing old, contemplation, guidance for the next generation. 21 o'clock to 24, goodbye, passing on memories, accepting the end. This model makes viewers wonder, what hour are we in today in our current life? A powerful theory is only as powerful as it is when it raises questions that are difficult to answer. In a 24-hour world, these questions include: 1. If we had only one day to live, would we choose to live for ourselves or for the next generation? 2. Is it possible to love someone deeply in just a few hours? 3. A work of art, a poem, a discovery. What does it matter if the person who created it disappears with the sun? 4. If everyone has only 24 hours, who keeps history? In the hustle and bustle of modern life, where people often forget the value of the moment, this hypothesis is like a wake-up call. It does not ask us to live faster, but to live more fully. Every hour, every minute becomes sacred. Every choice counts. No more tomorrow. We are living as if we will live forever, while in reality, no one knows how many hours we have left. The 24-hour world only makes it clearer, turning impermanence into law. The hypothesis 24-hour humans is a world full of haunting, but also full of possibilities. It encourages us to redefine the concepts: time, knowledge, love, creativity, and legacy. How the body and brain work, how societies are organized, how humans learn, love, and rebel. And finally, lessons for the real world. Part 2, biology and genetics in a 24-hour world. For the hypothesis of humans living only for 24 hours to be reasonable in terms of social structure and knowledge, we need to design a biological system that is completely different from the current human. Biology here includes not only the body structure, but also the way the brain processes information, the genetic memory system, and the entire process of an individual's existence within a day. Fast evolution, but not in a hurry. In a 24-hour world, the development process from birth to adulthood cannot be as long as it is now. The human body must be programmed to complete all biological functions within a few hours. We can visualize the biological stages as follows: 0 o'clock to 1 o'clock, system activation. Senses open, the brain begins to process raw data. 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, accelerated growth. Body reaches optimal size, full mobility. 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, adaptation phase. Observation, reaction, temporary personality formation. From our 5 onwards, body and brain operate at maximum capacity. This hypergrowth requires an extremely powerful metabolism, the ability to absorb high levels of energy from food or light, depending on the direction of development, biological or fictional bioenergy. The genetic structure must also be superior, not only for physical development, but also for integrating memories and past experiences. Genetic memory, living on through memories. One of the biggest problems when shortening the lifespan to 24 hours is, what will humans learn, from whom, and how? If there are no parents to teach, no schools, no time to learn through experience, the most feasible option is to transmit memories directly from the previous generation. 3 mechanisms of memory transmission can be envisioned. 1. Emotional inheritance, genes containing reflexes and emotions. Deep experiences such as fear, desire, belief can be encoded into instinctive reflexes, like the way salmon know their way back to their source. 2. Biological connection, compressed memories in DNA. All social, technical, and intellectual data can be stored in the genome in a supercoded form. Each generation is decompressed with this data. 3. Collective memory, a community memory bank. If this society has a high-tech foundation, personal memories after death can be loaded into a collective bank. When born, the new individual is reprogrammed with data selected from the community. Whether purely biological or technologically fictional, this creates a society where every individual carries thousands of years of experience, but still has their own personality because the emotions and choices in those 24 hours are unique. Soft cremation body, no more cemetery. With a lifespan of only 24 hours, preserving the body is not feasible. The body in this hypothesis would be programmed to biodegrade cleanly, leaving no smell, corpse, or toxins. Some possible simulation models: self-decomposition into minerals, returning to the ground as chalk dust, a symbol of a complete life cycle. Energy evaporation, if that world is based on a light energy biological model. Decomposition through symbiotic microorganisms, helping to re-nourish the garden of life for the next generation. This eliminates the entire funeral industry, but makes the moment of parting all the more poignant, since there is no longer an object to cling to. Death returns to its pure essence, invisible but real. Wisdom comes not from age, but from fate. In the modern world, people often associate experience with age. But in a 24-hour society, age loses its value. Everyone dies at 24 hours. The wisest person is not the one who has lived the longest, but the one who has carried the most lives through the transmission of memories. Who am I is no longer a personal question, but a resonance of millions of previous voices. Personality becomes the result of a combination of ancestral memories and immediate emotional choices. A person in this society can say, although I have lived only one day, I have loved as if I had lived 1,000 years because my heart remembers what has never been seen. Biology determines cognition. And in the 24-hour human's hypothesis, this particular biological machine is the foundation for the entire social, cognitive, and emotional system. It allows humans to exist fully, to create, to love, to learn in just one day. But it also places strict limits on choice, personal freedom, and continuity. Those limits will be put to the test in the next part when we explore. If there were no time to teach, how would society be organized? Part 3, social structure, a city as a life cycle. In a world where people live only 24 hours, society cannot operate in the traditional model. There are no extended families, no generations living together. Everyone is born, lives, and dies in the same time cycle. Society must adapt to become a super-optimized machine, where everything is organized in a daily cycle. Cities as heartbeats, instead of urban areas stratified by time of life. Each city in this world operates in a time field style, where thousands of people are born at dawn and die at midnight. These clusters of people can be called life cycles, or in a more religious sense, holy days. A city designed to accommodate the exact number of people for a 24-hour life cycle with facilities that are only enough for one day. Birth chambers, living belts, return sanctuaries. All activities run in a complete cycle, renewed every morning. No parents, only guides. Since there is no time for strong blood relationships, each new individual is guided by a group of predecessors, those who are in the middle or end of their day. These guides are not biological parents, but are responsible for activating memories, transmitting emotional orientation, and supporting the individualization of the life process. This is the basis for a highly collectivized society where affection is distributed evenly, not reserved for anyone. But everyone has a role to play in the cycle of existence of others. Governments do not need to be permanent. There are no terms of office, no traditional leaders. All decisions are made by clusters of synchronized consciousness where individuals with resonant memories are allowed to decide for themselves. A system that is super fast, flexible, and not fixed, because no one lives long enough to become a dictator. The city in the 24-hour world is not just a place to live, it is an entire life cycle. Each day is a generation. Each dawn is a collective rebirth. And that is what makes this society run on a biological heartbeat, not a long history. But in a society that has no time to build long-term relationships, can love survive? Part 4, Love, Emotions, and Relationships in 24 Hours. Love is something that takes time. But if time is gone, will love disappear or evolve? In a world where each individual lives only one day, love is no longer defined by the number of years together, but by the intensity and absolute presence in the moment. Relationships are not based on the past, nor are they oriented towards the future. They live entirely in the present. Soulmates in seconds. Because all memories, instincts, and knowledge are loaded from birth, each individual already has full emotional intelligence, even more sensitive than modern people. Therefore, the connection between two souls can happen within minutes. People understand each other at first sight. The concept of soulmate in seconds was born from that. Just one look is enough to create a strong emotional resonance. Even if it only lasts 3 to 4 hours, that relationship can reach a depth that in the current world, people take a lifetime to achieve. Separation always goes hand in hand with the beginning. In such a world, there is no lasting love, but there is no lasting disappointment either. Tragedy and beauty coexist within a day. Every relationship knows the end, and that makes every moment more sacred. Separation does not mean betrayal or distance. It is a natural part of the circle of life. The farewell rituals in this society are not complicated, but extremely profound. A last kiss, a look, or simply passing on a part of a memory. Family is no longer blood. With no concept of permanent parents, family becomes an instantaneous emotional bond, a group of people born in the same cycle or couples who meet and choose to share the rest of their lives. Families don't need to last long, they just need to be real. The magic of a 24-hour world is not that love lasts forever, but that it is the ability to love even when it is lost. Love is no longer a promise for the future, it is a testament to the present. And is that the most original love? Love is the emotional foundation. But what about knowledge? Without time to learn, how can people understand, create, and leave a legacy? That is the question of the next part: knowledge, creativity, and education in a short life. Part 5, Knowledge, Creativity, and Education in a Short Life. In today's world, education is a process that lasts for decades, from learning to speak to graduating from university. But in a society where people only live 24 hours, there is no time to learn in the traditional way. So how do they know what is right, what is beautiful, what needs to be done right away? Knowledge is loaded, not learned, but inherited. Every human being is born with a genetic knowledge package, a combination of data stored and transformed through previous generations. This is not a single memory, but a collective intelligence that is distilled, encoded, and decompressed in the first hour after birth. It includes basic skills, communication, reasoning, decision-making, specialized knowledge, technology, medicine, art, cultural intuition, ethics, rituals, customs. Each person is not just an individual, but an optimized copy of thousands of previous lives. Creativity within limits art of a day. If an artist has only a few hours to create a work, does that force him to choose create quickly or deeply? Because life is so short, art in this society is reflexive, emotional, intuitive. A painting can be painted in 10 minutes. A 3-minute piece of music can contain the author's entire life. 24-hour works can be recorded by collective storage devices or successors. No one has an artistic career, but everyone can leave a legacy. There is no traditional classroom, school, or teacher. Instead, the guide plays the role of activating knowledge packages by asking questions, giving situations, or creating emotions to call up the relevant data. Knowledge is not in books, but in the body and symbiotic memory. The important thing is not what to learn, but knowing when and why to use it. Knowledge in the 24-hour world is not a treasure that is accumulated over a lifetime, but a river that flows through each person. People do not learn to live, but live to activate knowledge. And this raises a big question. If everyone receives the same knowledge package, what makes the difference between people? The answer may lie in the ability to choose, resist, and redefine limits, the subject of Part 6. Part 6. Conflict, morality, and rebels. No society exists without conflict, not even a society that lasts only one day. In a 24-hour world where everything is optimized to the second, those who begin to question biological limits become agents of change. The first moral question: should we live longer than 24 hours? A minority group began to find ways to break the cycle. They believed that if we could extend our lifespan to 48 or 72 hours, we would have enough time to experiment, create more, love more deeply. They called themselves daykeepers, people who believed that the longer life, the more valuable it was. But the conservative group, often the original memory keepers, argued time does not create meaning. It is the limit that makes every second sacred. Conflict, civilization, or betrayal. The technology to extend life has already existed, but it disrupts the cycle of memory transmission. People who live too long begin to lose touch with common knowledge and even lose the ability to communicate intuitively. They become isolated, lost, and over time, lose themselves. This separation leads to a profound philosophical conflict. Live long to control or live short to connect? Every world has its rule breakers, and in a perfect 24-hour world, it is those who want more who open up the most important question. Is the meaning of life in its length or in how we live it? We will end this journey in Part 7, Conclusion, Life in 24 Hours, where all the questions are asked once again. If you only had one day, what would you spend it on? Part 7, Conclusion, Life in 24 Hours. If you only had one day to live, would you live differently? The 24-hour world is not just a fictional biological scenario, but a mirror reflecting reality. When every moment is the first, and also the last time humans are forced to live to the fullest. Time, not to count, but to feel. In modern society, we live as if we have unlimited time. We postpone our emotions, postpone our dreams, postpone our true selves. But in the 24-hour world, every delay is a renunciation. Extreme finiteness makes people redefine everything. Love does not need to promise, just needs to be present. Knowledge does not need to be piled up, just needs to be timely. Life does not need to be long, just needs to be meaningful. Reflecting on the present, a lesson in slow living. You don't have to live in a 24-hour world to see its message. We are living in a society that is too fast, too rushed, and sometimes too time-wasting. This hypothesis does not advise us to live shorter, but to live more mindfully. Know what is important, know when to stop, and know that no one really has forever.
Thank you for following the journey to the end. If you find this hypothesis worth pondering, please like, share, subscribe to spread humane imaginary worlds like this. And you know what? You still have time. Live it as if you only have 24 hours.